Estoy seguro de que alguna vez lo dije. Para mí, la saga del Conjuro es muy importante. Me regaló de las mejores experiencias laborales que tuve como periodista. Y pude hablar ahora con el director de fotografía de Annabelle. Ya había hablado con el de Annabelle Creation. Se la dejo acá arriba, con Maxim Alexandre. Son amigos porque trabajaron juntos en algunos de los distintos productos que hizo Mike Flanagan. En este caso, hablamos de la primera película, el primer spin-off que dejó la saga del Conjuro. Me contó cuáles fueron las influencias y hasta qué eventos paranormales vivieron a lo largo de este rodaje, todo en este informe sobre Annabelle.
We now return to Mira Akien and Contre with our latest interview.
At the time, I don't think anybody realized how big the franchise would become, especially not somebody in my position. Maybe, you know, some of the execs knew that they had a longer vision for this franchise, but I think, and again, I could be totally wrong, but I think the success of Annabelle, it was pretty successful on the box office. I think it made like $260 million globally. And I think that helped spur, you know, the continuation and the evolution of that franchise. So I don't think at any time we thought that we were starting something as big as it is now.
Go back inside. It's not mine. It's not. Go back inside and call an ambulance right now. Go!
As far as the possession stuff goes, I watched The Exorcist when I was far too young, and it had a lasting impression on me to the point where for many years I would see something that would remind me of like a curtain blowing in the window. I'd be like, slam the window and like, you know, and so when we got to those kind of that work, all that kind of came back to me, and some of those fears I had as a child, or, you know, an adolescent really, kind of inspired me to help recreate that feeling, you know, and we did a lot of really cool stuff, like the room, when the demon comes into the room, things are moving. We did a lot of really lo-fi kind of gags, where now I think they would do a lot of that VFX. We did it on wires and pulleys, and, you know, 6 people on cues moving stuff. And I find that crafting things that way is really rewarding because we work as a team, and everybody brings their specialty to it, and it can be a lot of fun.
How did that get in there? I swear I threw it out.
Things must have got mixed up. There, she fits right in.
This has like a special connection with Child's Play, not only because of the doll, like you can relate that to Chucky, but also because of Leonetti. You mentioned him. Did you discuss this movie, like maybe watch it again, have like a few notes? Did you hide a few notes in this movie to Child's Play? What can you tell me about that connection?
Not so much. I think now in hindsight, that franchise is kind of doing things that harken back to The Conjuring and to Annabelle. But at the time, I think Johnny and everybody, the writers, it was kind of a standalone thing because it was a prequel to The Conjuring. So it was really trying to setting the tone for what had happened in The Conjuring to explain some of the backstory for that movie. So we didn't really harken back or pay homage to Child's Play. There was a few things that we paid homage to in terms of like Rosemary's Baby. There was one other reference that we used quite a bit. I can't recall at the moment. And I think that, you know, that period look, we looked at a lot of films shot, you know, in the late 60s, early 70s to try to really sell that period.
Yeah.
Which I think we did really well. And I think the, you know, costumes department did a fantastic job. Props and production design and art direction, all that stuff, I thought really helped all that kind of things. And we found some good locations that worked. It's pretty hard to find locations in LA now that don't have something modern in the angle of view, you know, and there's still a lot of old neighborhoods and old buildings like that, but there's always a brand new one across the street, or, you know, a skyrise that's, you know, off the balcony. And so we worked really hard at finding locations that I think definitely helped the movie and helped sell that period.
I don't know if this is real, that James Wan directed the elevator scene. Is that correct? I don't know if that's
directed
true.
The elevator scene when it comes down to the basement.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't say he directed it per se, but he was there that day for sure. And there was ample conversation about it. that was one of the early real scares, is when the lights go off and there's lightning, and then the baby buggy rolls out. And so there was quite a bit of discussion on how to shoot that for sure. Honestly, I sort of stayed out of it to some degree. You know, both of those guys have a lot of experience making these movies, and they both have a long time working together. So it was the last place I was sticking my nose into.
What can you tell me about like the feeling that you had around this doll?
Yeah, that doll was very creepy. I absolutely hate older dolls. You know, even my wife has an old doll from when she was a kid, and I can't stand to see that thing. Whenever it comes through in storage or boxes, I'm like, God, get rid of that thing. There's just something very creepy about the way the hair is and the eyes. And of course, we had a couple of different ones, right? So, and I don't really care for dolls like that at all. So for me, I didn't like it. And there's been a couple of instances that we had on set that people chalked up to being slightly supernatural, and to my recollection, it mostly happened when the doll was nearby.
Like what do you remember? Like,
oh, we had a light fixture, not a motion picture light, but a regular hallway in a real existing building, that the light had probably been up there for 40 years, and it fell out of nowhere, almost hit one of the actors. We had a couple little instances like that for sure.
Who are you?